Yeah, CM Punk at All Out. Oh, that's awkward. Suck shit all you marks. Um, the stars, the Chicago Stars on the poster. Oh, CM Punk's gonna be at All Out. It's in Chicago. Oh, he's gonna be there. He's at Starcast. It's confirmed. Suck a dick. That's all I can say. Anyway, marks. The marks out there. Circles and blunt pencils is back. Bit later this week. Bit of technical difficulties, if I'm honest, which is pretty fucked. Wasn't happy about that, so I thought I'd come on here fresh off watching All Out, and I'll just talk about All Out for the next 10 or 20 minutes, and that'll be the show, I guess, and work through all these fucking problems that are going on and get the boys back on, and it'll be business as usual there. So, today, not even today, like fucking half an hour ago, as I'm recording this. All Out just finished. AEW in Chicago, where CM Punk was going to show up. Yeah, um, yeah, decent show. I didn't mind it actually. I have to go back and watch. I think I might have to go back and watch Double or Nothing, and then watch All Out and see how I'd rate the two as which one I thought was better. Fair bit of matches here. Obviously, the personal war between Cody and Sean Spears, the crowning of the first AEW World Champion, Chris Jericho versus Adam Page, the AAA Tag Team Championships in a ladder match between the Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers, and plenty more. So I'll get right into it, I think. We'll kick it off with the pre-show. We're at Double or Nothing. There was a 21-man casino battle royale. Obviously, the five start and then five come in, blah, blah, blah. And it was basically the same this time, but with the women. 21-woman casino battle royale. And the winner would receive a match. Should be the first participant in the AEW Women's World Championship match. I'm pretty sure that match is scheduled for their first night on TNT, October 2nd. So about a month away from AEW going to TV, and the war between the fans, let that begin. NXT versus AEW. Some of the participants in here were Nyla Rose, Penelope Ford, Priscilla Kelly, Shazza McKenzie. Shout out to Shazza McKenzie, Australian wrestler. Seen her a couple of times at World Series Wrestling. Britt Baker, Tennille Dashwood, Brandy Rhodes, Awesome Kong, Ali, Mercedes Martinez coming to AEW, Jazz, ODB, and Teal Piper, who's Roddy Piper's daughter. The match was won by Nyla Rose, so she will be in the women's championship matchup. There was also a match later on to determine the opponent for that match. Private Party defeated Angelico and Jack Evans. This was also on the pre-show. I saw a lot of shit online about Private Party being Street Profits knockoffs and shit like that. So I guess the marks are already trying to begin the war between NXT and AEW. So after the match, Angelico and Jack Evans, I guess, turned heel and started beating up Private Party. Don't know if this match had any implications on the tag team tournament that'll be beginning. We'll get into the main card now. It was just the two pre-show matches. Basically, the pay-per-view kicked off with a six-man tag team match between SCU, Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky, and they defeated Jurassic Express, or as Justin Roberts called them, a boy, and his dinosaur, which is Marco Stunt, who's probably the size of my steel cap boots, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus. So SCU won that matchup. SCU, I think, worked better as heels. Go back and watch their stuff in Ring of Honor when they were heels. it's much better. Jungle Boy, was it Luke Perry, 90210. That's his son. Bright future, I think. He's pretty good. Just needs to pack on some size. And Luchasaurus, fuck me, he's good. Big big unit with the dinosaur mask on and the green tongue and shit and whatnot. But he can move. He can move. That's for sure. Kenny Omega was originally supposed to have a match against John Moxley. John Moxley had to pull out just about 2 weeks ago or thereabouts. An infection in his elbow again. I think they said it required surgery. So Park was named the replacement for John Moxley. So we got Park and Kenny Omega. The second match as well. I was a bit thrown off by that. I thought this would have gone on. I wouldn't say second last because the Bucks would have put themselves there, but this was one of the main events for sure. So almost like a kickoff match. I guess this was a damn good match. Like fucking, I already can't remember what happened in it. That's how bad I am. But Park ended up winning. So Park in his AEW debut, even though he was supposed to debut at Double or Nothing against Hangman Page. He was at a referee stoppage. He had a submission on. Kenny was going for the one-winged angel, and Park sort of got out of it, and while standing up, sort of like a crucifix, and wrapped his legs around one of Kenny's arms and sort of put him to sleep, choking him out, and Kenny sort of just dropped to the floor, and the referee said, "No, that's it. You've had enough." But yeah, this is probably one of the best matches on the card. That's for sure. Highly rated amongst all the marks out there as well. We'll just put it out there. So the bastard and Kenny Omega, and going back on Kenny Omega, at one time I definitely feel at one time the best wrestler in the world. This year, I think he's had 6 matches, and he's won one of them, singles matches anyway. When he beat Shima at was it Fight for the Fallen or Fighter Fest, one of them. So yeah, not doing him any favors, are they? The next match was an interesting one. It was labelled a Cracker Barrel Clash. Basically, a triple threat hardcore match in the end. Jimmy Havoc, Darby Allin, and Joey Janela. If you didn't watch the pay-per-view, you'll notice when Darby Allin was coming out, the graphic on the screen said Jimmy Havoc. So someone fucked up. But then it said Jimmy Havoc when Jimmy Havoc came out. So Darby Allin didn't actually get his name in the graphic as he came out. This was I was a fan of this match. I love Joey Janela, so I'm going to be a fan of it no matter what, I guess. Jimmy Havoc straight away went to the staple gun. What else happened? Janela and Allin poured thumbtacks down Havoc's mouth and taped his mouth shut and taped into a chair, and Darby Allin did a flip off the top of the turnbuckle to Havoc, who was just sitting comfortably tied up in his chair with thumbtacks. Havoc was given fucking paper cuts to Janela, like in the webbing of his fingers. Havoc got the staple gun out and just started stapling himself with nothing. Fuck, there was too much in this match to keep up with. Darby Allin went for another one of his the trust fall jumps off the turnbuckle, and he laid up Havoc on the steel steps, and he grabbed one of the barrels and put it behind him, and obviously Havoc was going to move, and Darby Allin just flat back on the steel steps with the barrel, just straight on the steps, and that was him done for the match. But Jimmy Havoc ended up winning that. He put Janela through a table with it basically, not the table. I think it was one of the barrels that didn't break off the suplex off the top rope. It's another thing that happened. He basically gave him the Rainmaker clothesline through the barrel to pick up the win there. The Dark Order defeated the Best Friends in a tag team match, so they receive a first round bye in the AEW World Tag Team Championship tournament that I was talking about before with Private Party and Evans and Angelico. I'd picked the Best Friends. I haven't seen much of the Dark Order, if anything really, just what they've done in AEW, but they've got the first round bye now. After the match, after they had won, they were beating down, I think they were beating down the Best Friends, and the lights went out, and as they came back on, there was Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy just standing in the ring, sunglasses on, hands in his pockets as he does. He signed, I think, about a month ago, and a lot of people blowing up just because he's so plain and, does nothing, but that's the gimmick, and it's entertaining as fuck, so that's the whole purpose of it. Did a suicide dive with his hands still in his pockets as he does. Sunglasses didn't fall off because he's just got swag, if you will. And then just rolled back in the ring. I'll just put it this way: his hands did not come out from his pockets, and he did a nip up like it was nothing. So I dare say he's probably joined forces with the Best Friends because they hugged him afterwards and sort of like, oh, thanks for saving our ass afterwards or whatever. Yeah, that was pretty good. Rio defeated Hikaru Shida, and this so Rio winning this match, she will face Nyla Rose for the Women's World Championship on AEW on TNT. I guess that's what they're calling it. They're not going to call it Wednesday Night Dynamite, is what they were leaning towards there. So there's that. Nothing really on that match. Then we get into basically the triple main event situation as they do. Sean Spears and losing, I guess I'll just say losing to Cody. Decent match. Sean Spears had Tully Blanchard in his corner. They were hyping that up probably for the last 6 weeks. Cody came out with Brandy, their dog Pharaoh, DDP, and MJF. And as per the contract they signed for the match, which Cody just signed, didn't read it, it basically stipulated he can have one person in his corner. And he chose MJF, which I'll talk about that in a second. Cody bit mean to his dog Pharaoh, having pyro as they're walking out. So Pharaoh was scared shitless and didn't want to come out. Cody started off the match hot, just basically suicide dive straight out, beating up Sean Spears in the crowd and whatnot, and then get it into the ring. Match officially starts. Sean Spears gets the upper hand. MJF showing his, I guess, inexperience, manager-wise or whatever, sort of distracting the referee at the wrong time, so Sean Spears could pick up the upper hand, as well as Tully Blanchard. Cody copped an absolute beating, especially not from his weightlifting belt, but Tully Blanchard's leather belt. Sean Spears went to take Cody's belt and hit him with it, but the referee stopped him and took the belt. And as he was doing that, Tully handed it Spearsy his belt and just started whipping him, and it sort of fired up Cody and copped one around the chest, I think. Almost looked like he hit him in the head, and it was fired up, and they went at it a bit more. Cody hit the crossroads, went for the pin, but Tully stopped the referee, and MJF got in the ring, and Tully and MJF looked choking each other in the middle of the ring, and that went outside. And while the referee was focused on that, trying to control that situation, even though it had nothing to do with the match, old Double A, Arn Anderson, hit the ring and gave Sean Spears his legendary spine buster, and then just left. And Tully Blanchard followed him up the ramp, trying to figure out why he was doing that, because obviously the two of them tag team partners back in the day and members of the Four Horsemen. Uh, Cody ended up picking up the victory, as I said. He's going to hit Spears with the chair, sort of back to Fight for the Fallen. What happened there? And yeah, hit the Devastator kick while Spears was holding the chair and hit the crossroads for the 1, 2, 3. And then after the match, you just think MJF being MJF that he was going to turn on Cody, but he didn't, which is actually, I'm not going to lie, I thought it was actually a bit disappointing, especially MJF just being an absolute natural heel that he is, would have been perfect for him just to turn on his best friend, Cody Rhodes, the man that made him all elite and, gave him a career at AEW. Just would have been perfect, but you know, that's just me. And I dare say everyone else out there, would have been good to see. Cody came out sort of like a Star Trek theme, which is just a bit weird there. The ladder match for the AEW, not the AEW, for the AAA Tag Team Championships. This is fucking absolute cracker of the match. The Lucha Brothers defeating the Young Bucks, but Ray Phoenix, I think he'd have to be up there as one of the best high flyers, not just today, but of all time. He's an absolute freak. Yeah, it's just ridiculous the shit that he can do, as well as Pentagon Jr. and the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson. So you just put the four of them in a ring, and it's just like putting shit in a blender and just watching it spin around and watch it blend together. It was just, yeah, it's fantastic. It was a fucking great match. A lot of people I already saw online calling it one of the best ladder matches they've ever seen. I don't know if that's ladder match in general or tag team ladder match, but for tag team ladder matches, for 2-on-2 anyway, tag team ladder match, it's hard to say that it wasn't. But yeah, it was a great match. At one point, I think Pentagon hit a Canadian Destroyer off the ladder through a table. Having the ladder set up next to the ropes and just watching him do suicide dives like through the ladder over the ropes. I think Nick took an ugly bump. He was climbing the ladder and there was a couple of tables set outside, and I think Phoenix, or it might have been Pentagon, because he had his mask ripped off, so he sort of had to cover his face with one hand and just lunged the ladder forward with the other. And as Nick was going over the ropes, he might have jumped too late, and his feet caught the ropes and just went just smack through one table. I think it was head first, so it looked pretty ugly. They hit the package pole driver double stomp onto a ladder that was a sort of a bridge between the ring apron and the barricade. They hit that on Matt Jackson, and yeah, the Lucha Brothers ended up picking up the win there. I think was a. I mean, I would have predicted them to win. I didn't get to do my predictions for this pay-per-view for reasons that I stated earlier. But yeah, no, definitely great match. And afterwards, they were attacked by two masked men, beating them down. And I think Nick Jackson got in and he copped something as well. And it turns out Santana and Ortiz from LAX are now all elite, which is great. Obviously, they were free agents after their run at Impact Wrestling, and there was apparently a bidding war. AEW and WWE wanted them, but for tag team wrestling, do you really want to go to WWE? Let's just be honest. No, you want to go to AEW, and now that tag team division is already stacked. I mean, what you got the best friends. You got was a Private Party, SCU, Young Bucks, Lucha Brothers. You've now got LAX. The Jungle and his dinosaur or whatever. I don't know what are they called. Jungle Express, a boy and his dinosaur, some shit like that. Also, some of the wrestlers from OWE. So yeah, it's already stacked, and it's probably only going to improve even more. And then the main event, Chris Jericho defeated Hangman Adam Page to become the first ever AEW World Champion. Let's not forget as well that Chris Jericho was also the first ever undisputed champion in WWE. So, of course, he was going to win it like there was a doubt. There was never a doubt. He was always going to win. Let's call a spade a spade. Let's be real. Let's be honest. Of course, Jericho was going to win. And the crowd was chanting thank you. Everyone's thanking him. But he still wants his thank you from Cody, the Bucks, and Kenny. So, whether that happens or not, I don't know. But putting the world title, especially being the first champion, putting it on Jericho, I think it's just smart. Because Jericho being Jericho, he's just going to rub it in everyone's face. And he's going to say to everyone that I told you so. And we're all going to worship and praise him. But no, it's a good match. Jericho, I think he's 48 now, 29 years wrestling experience. He's got more wrestling experience than Adam Page has been alive. I think Adam Page is 27, maybe 28. Jericho, almost 50. This match went for about 25 minutes or so, around that. He can still go. Looked in good shape. JR said it's probably the best shape he's looked in the last 5 years or so. Jericho's always going for the wars. Hangman Page got basically like every body part of his worked on. They hit his flipping lariat or whatever he does, which sets up for the Deadeye, sort of like a reverse tombstone, which Jericho kicked out of. And I think he went for it again, and Jericho hit the Judas effect, which is the spinning back elbow. And yeah, that was it. 1, 2, 3. Another interesting point on this match. It was officiated. Forgot a name already, but a female referee. So I think it's like the first time ever that a female referee has not only officiated the main event on a wrestling pay-per-view, but a world title match on pay-per-view. So AEW is just fucking making history left, right, and center. And then, yeah, the show ended and no one turned up afterwards. So I think a lot of people are already crying about that. And I just got to say, suck shit. I mean, I would have told you every single week, at least every single time I spoke about AEW and All Out, that CM Punk wasn't going to turn up. So just listen to Circles and Blunt Pencils and you'll be alright. Come on. Let's be real. So, but all in all, great pay-per-view. Like I said, I have to watch Double or Nothing again to sort of compare the two. I've fucking got the memory of a fish. I can't even remember all specific details about what happened, but that's alright. Just my thoughts and whatnot. I think if I was to go top 3 matches, it'd be hard to go past the Lucha Brothers and Young Bucks, but I'd put Park and Omega up there as well as a tie, thereabouts, for best match, and then Jericho and Page, regardless of the result. I mean, if Hangman picked up the win, kicked out of the Judas effect and hit the Deadeye and won, it wouldn't have made the match any worse. It still would have been top 3 matches on the card. But my favourite, personally for me, was the triple threat, Havoc, Janela, and Allen. Just because I'm a Janela fan. I mean, I'm a Cody fan, I'm an Omega fan, I'm a Jericho fan of wrestling, but, you know, when you add a hardcore stipulation to a match, and can do interesting things with it, of course I'm going to be a fan because I love hardcore wrestling. So that was my favourite match. hit us up in the comments or Instagram at Circles and Blunt Pencils Wrestling Podcast, I think it is. If you watched it and what your favorite match was and what you thought was the best, and maybe have a cry to me because CM Punk didn't turn up, unless he's turning up on the post show. But I don't think that'll happen. Also, Jericho, I think he's now held a title in ECW, WCW, WWE, New Japan, and AEW. So that's 5 promotions. He's held a title. He's held the world title in AEW and WWE. Because I don't think he was actually WCW champion. Because I think it would have just merged into the undisputed. So yeah, it's, Jericho's just continuing to win belts. I wonder if AEW will do a Intercontinental Championship belt because no doubt Jericho will win that. He's already won it in WWE 9 times in New Japan, so he's an Intercontinental Championship god. And there's a reason why Chris Jericho is the GOAT. They also announced their next pay-per-view. Hopefully it's up here. Otherwise I have to. There we go. Full Gear. Yeah, Full Gear. November 9 in Baltimore. So I wonder if. So far, it doesn't appear that AEW will be doing monthly pay-per-views, which I actually don't mind. You know, I think WWE does like 14 a year. It's a bit much. So maybe like every 6 or 7 weeks, that'd be pretty good. So months ago now, they do weekly TV, which I think they desperately need to do. Obviously, they're using their, I guess, facilities with social media very well, which is working for them. So that's good. But yeah, once it hits TV and the war begins, I guess. Yeah, that'll be good to see. Do I have anything? I don't know if there's really anything else. See if I can get any Mark stories up for the people. And there'll be some fantastic Mark stories coming up when we sort out this podcasting shit and we can get a triple threat going again with Queen of Queens and Shit Talker Dick Walker. I'm sure they have a lot to say about what's going on in wrestling as well. So it'll be exciting times coming up. I can't find anything here, which is a shame. Everyone's just keeping to themselves, and which is unusual. People usually just like to fucking have a cry and shit about everything. So yeah, I guess that's it. That'll wrap us up here on last week, the longest podcast in CMBP, and this one being the shortest. So I hope everyone enjoyed my little quick chit chat there on AEW. It already feels it's already been going for half an hour almost, and feels like I've been talking about AEW for 10 minutes. There was also UK Takeover Cardiff and New Japan Royal Quest. I will go back. I will watch them, and I will hopefully talk about them on next week's show. Obviously, just the whole time difference here in Australia. You know, Takeover UK Cardiff was like 2 a.m. in the morning, and then, 4 a.m. in the morning, and New Japan was at 2 a.m. and AEW was 9 a.m. and I'm just too old and tired to be pulling all-nighters now, and yeah, usually too drunk as well to stay awake. So anyway, that'll be it for CMBP. Keep an eye out as well for a little something we like to call a dingo ate my Brady. Hopefully that'll be coming out soon. Still waiting for confirmation. Yeah, I'm talking to you, shit talker Dick Walker. It's all good, mate. But yeah, Instagram, Circles and Blunt Pencils, wrestling podcast, hashtag CMBP or Circles and Blunt Pencils or Push Cesaro, fuck Johnny Gargano, anything else you can think of. Jericho is the GOAT. CM Punk. Oh, fuck, that is brilliant. Just love it. Oh, well, what are you going to do? So, yeah, I guess that's Circles and Blunt Pencils done and dusted, and I am all out.